How stiff and violent the suspension is on this truck. There's a few things I can do, but there's also a few things that the mechanics might do, which I doubt. It involves replacing all the rubber mounts that the cab sits on. I think a few of them might be broken. Because it's a spare truck, and that's a really big job to get the cab jacked up so you can get those mounts out. There's three of them. There's one in each corner and one in the middle of the back here. The other thing is the airbags. I can do the airbags, I just haven't gotten around to it yet. Well, we came in at 6. So far we've done 7 movements. Now we're making our way up here to an auto parts distributor, wholesaler. Gonna pick up an empty container, take it back to the shipping terminal. It's that time of day where we got time for one more run here. It's a little after 2. Shipping terminal closes at 3:45. Of course, here in Hawaii, everybody's talking about what's going on in Maui. There's all kinds of Maui relief efforts, not only in our yard, but in the shipping terminal's yard. Sending over whatever you think somebody might need. There's about 3,000 people that have been displaced. Say they don't need any more clothes. We got more than enough. Probably the biggest need is for canned goods at the moment. I'm sure those needs will change as things progress. of me drives like my 90-year-old mom does. Same. Yeah. We don't let my mom drive anymore. The license is valid, but the driving skills aren't what they used to be. I was talking to my dentist because I went in for a root canal on Friday. And he told me his mom's 96 and she still drives. It's amazing. That might have been her. This pre-trip, take it back to the shipping terminal. It's only about 3.5 miles away. Alright, we're all hooked up, everything looks good. Just keep a note of our time here. 2:45. try to do a little bit on the truck. This morning I took the truck into the mechanics, got some light bulbs and changed out some of the instrument lights. I noticed the other night when I was working at night that I couldn't see half the instruments. So we got that fixed. Then I went and checked the front hubs. I noticed it felt a little warm whenever I'd walk past them. And sure enough, the hub oil was a little on the low side. It wasn't good. It wasn't dry, but we're gonna double check those tomorrow. And I took out the vents here for the air conditioning and got them straightened out. Usually when you just see a hole, it means the vent's been pushed in. You take the vent out and you look down inside and there's the missing parts. Which is what was going on here. I still got this mirror that's driving me crazy. I gotta figure out how to either get that to stop making that noise or replace it. Now we've made our way back here to Nemitz Highway, but we're going the wrong direction. So we got to make a U-turn. I'm off tomorrow. The mechanic says they might have the Teflon pads for the that'd be cool if they could get that installed tomorrow. That'll take away half the rear end noise. Now Thursday when I come in, I'll bring my tools so we can get that back brake fastened down. I think after work today, I'm going to take this panel off here that's got the air horn tied up with the paper clip and clean behind it and get the air horn hooked up correctly. They're just little things, but when you have so many little things like this, it's like a big project. And either Thursday or Friday, I'll try to figure out the adjustment on the airbags to get that so it's a little softer. But who knows, by that time I might be back in 328 and don't have to worry about this truck anymore. I like to take care of them because I like these trucks. So when I'm driving them, I try to make them better. So yeah, the story, the talk around the shop, of course, is all about what's going on in Maui. It's ever present. You know, we're doing a lot of shipping work for them. The problem is that the barges are basically sold out, so people are trying to cooperate. You know, like we had a container load of water to send a couple days ago, but we couldn't get it on the barge. There wasn't any space. So we called around to the big boxes and said, hey, can we swap out one of your big box cans for container of water instead? And they said, oh yeah, sure. But then you got to do some paperwork to figure that out. So that's kind of stuff that's going on behind the scenes. I don't film that. Everybody's talking about their memories. That's all we got of Lahaina now. It's gone, you know. It's going to be completely different when it comes back. Like I said earlier, that's where I proposed to my first wife. That's where my dad and I probably had the most, you know, my mom divorced my dad when I was 5, so I don't really know my dad that well, but he would come to Hawaii every year for Valentine's Day. For years and years he did that. And we would get together. I would meet him on the neighbor islands. Maui was one of his favorites. We'd go out to dinner quite a few times there at Lahaina. See some of the dinner shows. Have a good meal. Get caught up. So when I think of Lahaina, I think of all those meals I've had with my dad. captain turned off the boat, and there was literally thousands of whales around us, just reaching everywhere. It was probably one of the most awesome things that I've seen. And that's still there, even though the harbor's been destroyed. Those things can still happen. But when I think of Lahaina, those are the things I think of. Anyway, we're making our way back to the shipping terminal, about to get off of Nimitz Highway onto the Sand Island Access Road. Who was the manager, he went from being a manager to a part owner in the company, and they went from 3 stores to 14 stores. And one of those stores was in Lahaina. And I remember going over there to help him install the store and learning from the locals. I'd never lived in Maui, I've only visited. So there was the one time we were over there for, I think it was 3 days, and I got to talk to local people that were going to be working in the store. That store became one of the busiest stores, but they closed it down because we could never find anybody to work in it. And that's the story in Maui, is that there is so much work, but there's nobody to do the work because there's no place to live. The island has outgrown the working population a long time ago, 20 years ago. So it's a real struggle in Maui to find a place to live. Find a place to live, don't worry about work. It's everywhere. And so I'm guessing in Lahaina there was probably a lot of people in this, instead of, you're not going to see too many single households. It's going to be like multiple people living in one house. And that's the scary part, because listening to the radio, they've only done a quarter of the canvassing with the dogs. There's 20 dogs working the area, and so far they've only done 1/4 of the area, and it's the least populated area. So it could get a lot worse in the next couple of days. But that's what I've been hearing on the radio. Everybody, I keep getting calls from classmates and stuff. Everything okay there, man? It sounds horrible. It is horrible. It's not on this island. We're going to take this into the shipping terminal, try to get rid of it, and call dispatch and see if there's anything else to do. Day is winding down. beautiful day though. Picked up the performance radiator. Bobtailing back in Madison. Bobtail back to the yard and shut them down. It's kind of hard to motivate yourself to do a little maintenance on the trucks at the end of the day when it's the hottest part of the day. I guess you can do it inside the truck with the air conditioning on. But it was a good day. We came in at 6. We did 8 movements. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 movements. Our first load was a flat rack full of steel going down to one of the new high rises being built. It's the fire escapes. Stood by and offloaded that to the tower crane. Took that empty flat rack back to the terminal, picked up a full logistics can. It's in the yard here. It's going to be delivered on Thursday. And picked up a load of packaging material and took it down to a soy sauce distribution warehouse in Campbell. Stood by, offloaded that. Brought that empty back here because the shipping terminal was closed. And then we picked up a 24-foot container going back to the tug and barge in the Campbell industrial area. Dropped off that empty and then ran over to a distribution warehouse in Campbell where we delivered some solar equipment. Picked up that empty, brought it back to the shipping terminal. Ran from the shipping, bobtail from the shipping terminal over to the auto parts where we picked up that empty. And that was our last run. Drove 131 miles. We'll be out of here by 4 o'clock. It's about 3:40 right now. So I'm going to show you why people don't like old trucks. Because don't care how much you clean them, you drive an old truck all day long, you just feel really grody at the end of the day. Even though you've cleaned everything. And this is the reason. When they build these trucks, they have all these panels that you can clean. But what you don't realize, when they install this, they sprayed on some insulation on the back of it, probably for sound and maybe for the cold weather and stuff. But in Hawaii, with the heat, that insulation that was sprayed on the back has turned to fiberglass sand. So we're going to take this panel off and you'll see what I'm talking about. You gotta watch your eyes because this stuff is just... see that. But there's that insulation I was talking about. Just like fine sand. And when you're driving along, grab the towel here. When you're driving along and hit a speed bump, this is the stuff that's being blown into the air. These are just the little side panels. The panel that's directly above you has got 10 times this amount sprayed into it. It's not even held in place anymore because it's just turned to dust. See? So that's what I do when I get an old truck. I take the panels off and clean behind them. It just makes a much more cleaner experience during the day. But that's what I'm going to be doing. We'll clean up that panel. Just going to do that one today. Clean up this area behind it. Doesn't look too bad. And then get this wired up to that air horn. You can see some of the insulation here. This is kind of what it looks like. It's turned to sand. Anyway, after this we're headed home. We're going to make a stir fry tonight with some shrimp and fish. Kind of looking forward to it. It's kind of a pasta meal that we made a while back. It was really good. So that's what's for dinner. But thanks for watching today. Aloha.